I'm on 100 days of retaining my sack. So my balls are full. My stomach is also empty, which is what we're going to talk today about, guys. So doing a little challenge. I'm going to be fasting for multiple days. And I will say, honestly, if anyone hasn't fasted for at least 24 hours, like just try it and then like try meditating. I find, and it's like, I'm starting to think of the whole like alignment retention stuff. It's almost like a video game, right? You know, your frequency, your energy, your prana, your chakras, the higher those things are, the easier working out is, the easier meditation. I find that anyone that meditates, like I would say somewhat seriously, probably I call it the trance, where it's like, you know how when you're meditating and you're focused on the breath, it gets to a point where it's like you and your breath literally become one. So you stop thinking about it and you'll notice that your breathing will slow down like a good amount. But I've noticed I've been kind of getting to that state more and more and more. So I think these next couple of days, it's going to be really interesting to see, honestly, like my mind and like whenever I meditate, like the thoughts and just, how I feel like outside the meditation session. I think that's going to be pretty awesome. So looking forward to that. And kind of just my overall thoughts lately, I would say I've been thinking a lot more honestly, just about like goals and stuff, even like people too. Like you'll find as you like the days get more and more and more, it's just like, it makes you kind of question everything and not even a bad way. I would say like if you have a friend, like you'll actually just start to see the friend as they are and not like where they're going, not what they used to do, but just where they are currently. And I think that's pretty important too, because I would say when you're so focused on like the future, it's also on the past. But if you're like so focused on someone's like potential, and I find myself, I've been doing that. So you want to be careful, not careful like it's a bad thing. It's fine. Like there are a lot of people that have potential, but I feel like it's important. You don't want to idolize someone's like potential and not like the person that they are currently. I think that's the trap. So it's just another thought I've had, as I get more aware and I have these thoughts. Because, that's why I tell you guys, everyone should retain. And it's more so like you need to. Like I can't, like there's no other like activity. Like the gym is really good, don't get me wrong. And meditation too. But I feel like if you're releasing constantly, you're probably not gonna get the benefits of meditation that you could if you were like aligned and locked in. Because for me now, guys, it's like a game. I'm always gonna mention sage mode because it's like a game. Like you want to stay in that like sage mode state, eventually six path state. And most of us, like, we need retention for that. I'm sure there are people out there where, they can release and they're fine. But I can definitely say after this past week, it's like, it's in my mind, I know, like, you can't relapse. I'm telling you, like, bad things are going to happen to you guys. And it's not like, and this is where it's like, I don't want to say bad things are going to happen, but it's gonna, I'll say like this. When your vibration's lower, you're just naturally more unlucky. And that might manifest as bad things. But I feel like when your vibration's higher, even if bad things happen to you, you still return back to gratitude. You're still grateful. So it doesn't really seem like a bad thing. So, because you could have two people, right? A high vibrational person and a low vibrational person. They could both lose a family member or a person. And, they would probably react, a little differently. Or maybe let's not take something that extreme. Maybe it could be you broke a water bottle, or your food spilled, And as I do this more and more, it's like it's like even things where you're like, oh, that should bother me. It doesn't. And I think there's like a serene power in that. It's why I think, especially as men too, I feel like it's important we maintain emotional stability. It's not to say you can't cry and show emotion, but think of it like your blood sugar. You want it stable. You don't want it to be constantly, That's what makes you diabetic. I kind of think the same thing with like emotional stability. Like you should have a good temperament, as a man, good emotional stability. You shouldn't be like this all the time. You should be pretty leveled, pretty chill. I think I've always been like that, but I can say definitely retention like has amplified that more too, because you'll find as you retain, you get more line, you increase your vibration. Your good traits are going to stand out even more, but the bad traits, I would say also, it's like you're more mindful of them, but then now that you're mindful of them, you can start like working on like overcoming them, which I think is a good thing because there's still a lot of parts of myself that's like you think yourself, right? Which is crazy because yeah, you're the observer of your thoughts, but as you keep going on this path, it's like parts of you are just gonna come up, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't. It was kind of crazy that I thought, that about said person, or oh, I had this belief about X, Y, Z, or whatever. But I think like once you kind of get through all that, if anyone knows who like Carl Jung is, like the shadow and the shadow integration and that stuff, which is really cool. You guys look into Carl Jung. He's really cool. Talks about like the shadow, the ego, all that stuff too, because that part's pretty important too. Like anyone that's seen Naruto, I think Naruto's a good like analogy or symbolism for like kind of that whole shadow integration that Carl Jung talks about, because it's learned to like the nine tailed fox is inside of him. It's not going anywhere. He kind of has to learn to like, live with that and embrace it. But he turns that part like quite literally into power, and you take that power plus sage mode and all his other abilities. And it's why he's so strong now. And that's why I'm like, even if you don't, I'm sure there are some people probably listening to me like, oh, the benefits aren't real. This is all nonsense. And maybe, but it's more so, I think even if you didn't believe in the benefits, it's like, let's say you're the most scientific or logical person, the more you retain, the lower your prolactin, that's going to mean your dopamine sensitivity is better, higher testosterone, less estrogen. Like these are all things that still benefit men. So even if you don't believe in like the spirituality and alignment and that stuff, you should still do it for the scientific reasons, honestly, because you get a bunch of benefits from higher tests. It's going to make you more muscle mass, which I'm sure everyone watching this probably definitely cares about. Not even probably, because I feel like me personally, as someone that's lifted for a really long time, like when I tell you guys the amount of like, it's almost stupid. Like I'm telling you, like in months, how quickly you progress when you're retaining. That's why I always tell you guys, if you're stuck in a plateau or you're not progressing on your lifts, you just have to retain. And I promise you're going to break through all the plateaus. I can't make it up, because I was stuck. I was making progress, but definitely not the way I thought I could for someone that took it so seriously, that ate right, hardly deviated from the diet, didn't miss workouts. But I've also been doing it a little longer. So maybe it's just more so all the benefits are finally starting to like line up. I've just had to be patient, but I can definitely say retention's been a big part of it too, because and you don't even need that much sleep. I'll say that's another benefit. You just really don't need much sleep. Don't take advantage of that. Still try to get your 7 to 9 hours, but I find it just makes me like, okay, boom. One day I get 6 hours sleep, boom. You're still good. It gives you like this like urgency too. Like you'll want to wake up early. Like when I tell like everyone listening, it's like I can't. If I wake up early, right, I can't go back to sleep. My body's just like get up, move, work, do something, but don't just lie down in bed. And it's like, okay, I guess I got to get up. I can't fall asleep, so I might as well get up and do something productive. Especially if it's early too. You're probably gonna work out, or you'll meditate. You'll eat something. Like you'll do something productive, which I think is good. I think it's important. We wake up early. You don't have to wake up like 4 a.m., but you should wake up maybe. I guess it depends. Everyone's situation is a little different, but try not to sleep in. Maybe once a day. No, I said once a day. Once in a blue moon, once a week, but definitely don't make it every day. Because I will say, as you retain more, get more aligned. Another thing I'll say, guys, is anyone's played like Call of Duty. Like imagine you have like a sniper rifle, right? But if you don't focus, you notice how it like sways pretty often. As you get more aligned and your vibration gets higher, I find that like it's kind of focuses more. It's like you stop looking for like 6, 9 different ways to do said tasks. You kind of just focus on the one or two that you know that you personally want to do. It's like, you're moving from alignment because, and the biggest thing, if you take nothing else from this video, definitely trust your intuition and trust the alignment, because I'll never forget the day I asked to project it, something just told me to meditate, and I didn't delay it. I had the thought and I immediately did it. There was no delay, like at all. And I asked projected very briefly 2 times in that meditation session. I will definitely attempt to do it again. I'll say during this fast, and I'll keep you guys kind of posted on that too, because it's been 20 hours since I've eaten. I feel fine, honestly, because I've done it before. But probably day 2, 3, 4, 5, I'll give you guys more so my thoughts. But yeah, I just want to make that a quick video just to kind of tell you where my headspace at, kind of the plan with the fasting. Definitely encourage everyone fast. If you have doubts, just think it's the biggest amplifier possibly besides like meditation and alignment for like your frequency, vibration, whatever you want to call it. That's why you should fast, because you are starving yourself of food. And I know with this fast, another goal I have is more so like I want to starve myself of as much pleasure, as much dopamine like as possible, and like see what happens, when you can't run to like the alcohol, you can't run to the weed, you can't run to the or whatever. When you can't run to these things, you're really forced to sit with your thoughts and like kind of like acknowledge them, almost like those parts of yourself, the shadow, the shadow integration. I feel like all that stuff, it starts to kind of manifest as you get more aligned, because it's like it's necessary, for us to get to that next point. I'm sure everyone wants to get to that point, where you can provide for your family, do all these things, live the life you want. But that definitely requires like alignment. You have to be one with the kingdom of God. You can't recognize you're not separate from God. Remember, we are God's. But you got to really rest and sit in that understanding, I think, to get to that next step. But yeah, that's 100 days of retaining the sack. We'll keep you guys posted. Stay locked in. Don't goon. And until the next one.